Hello everybody. The topic of discussion for the day is transistor biasing. The main highlighting feature that we'll be discussing today is number 1 is investigation of transistor as an amplifier. Number 2 is DC load line. Number 3 is operating point. And number 4 will be giving a brief about various transistor biasing circuits. Let's start with one of the most important application of transistor. The most important application of the transistor is it is used as an amplifier. Let's define what is an amplifier. Amplifier basically is a two-port network through which we enhance the weak signals. Now, in order to investigate the performance of a transistor as an amplifier, we have to undergo a small steps. These steps are used to investigate whether the amplifier which has been designed is working satisfactory or not. Very first step for the investigation of the transistor as an amplifier is, first of all, we have to plot the DC load line. Now, in order to draw a DC load line, we take a very small example of a common emitter amplifier circuit. Here we are taking an NPN transistor . This is collector resistance. This terminal is emitter, this is base, and this is collector. Since we know that in order to use a transistor as an amplifier, it needs to be operated in an active region. So for that, the output junction need to be reverse bias and the input junction need to be forward bias. So here I have put VBB, which is representing that the input junction is forward bias, and here I have representing a biasing battery which has reverse biased the output junction. Along with that, the input which need to be amplified is applied with the two capacitors which are referred as coupling capacitors. C1 and C2 are referred as coupling capacitor. So here we come up with one of the simplest common emitter amplifier circuit. Now, since our aim is first to draw the DC load line, so the very first step that we do is we draw DC equivalent circuit. Now, for drawing the DC equivalent circuit, the two elementary steps are very much required. First is we have to remove the coupling capacitors which are C1 and C2, and we have to remove the AC input signal which need to be amplified. Now if we see this diagram, C1 and C2 have been removed. They are no more present in the circuit. Along with the input signal which need to be amplified is also removed. Now we apply KVL in output loop, that is along collector emitter junction. We get VCC is equal to ICRC plus VCE. Hence, VCE comes out to be equal to VCC minus ICRC. Now, this is my elementary equation which is going to help me out to draw the DC load line. Second step that we have to undergo is we have to draw the output characteristic of common emitter configuration. Now the output characteristic of a common emitter configuration is a plot between collector current and collector emitter voltage. Collector current is in milliamperes, this is in volts. For a constant value of base current. Let here we have IB is equal to 0 microamperes, 10 microamperes, 20 microamperes. Now, in order to draw the DC load line, we require the starting and ending point of the line on this characteristic. That can easily be interpreted. If we want any point on this axis, which is called as the axis of VCE, we have to put IC is equal to 0. Now, when I put IC is equal to 0, in the main equation, which I have put it into the box, we get VCE is equal to VCC. That means I get a coordinate over here which is referred by VCC comma 0. Similarly, if I want any point on this axis, which is a y-axis represented over here by IC, I have to put VCE is equal to 0. Now, when I put VCE is equal to 0 in this main equation, what I get 0 is equal to VCC minus ICRC, that is VCC upon IC upon RC is equal to IC. That means I get a coordinate over here whose value will be 0 comma VCC by RC. Now, joining these two extreme points, I get a line which is referred as load line. So, my very first step for investigating the performance of a transistor as an amplifier is covered, that is, we have drawn DC load line. Second step is location of operating point. Operating point is also called as Q point. It is also referred as quiescent point. Now, first of all, we should understand what exactly operating point is. Definition: the zero signal values of IC and VCE is referred as Q point. By zero signal values, I mean that we are now operating under DC equivalent circuit conditions. Now, on this characteristic, if I try to find out what exactly will be the location of operating point, so again I am taking only one characteristic for a fixed value of IB. Suppose this value of IB is say 10 microamperes. I have drawn a line which I have already told you earlier. This will be referred as DC load line. The coordinates of this will be VCC comma 0 and 0 comma VCC by RC. So this point is referred as Q point. More specifically, we can also say that it is the point of intersection of the output characteristic and the load line. Suppose here we have a value of VCE, suppose VCE1, or the coordinate is suppose VCE1 comma 0, and on the y-axis suppose the coordinate is 0 comma IC1. So the Q point coordinates will be VCE1 comma IC1. Now, what is the importance of drawing this particular Q point? So, we will be discussing now about the importance of this Q point. Let's take different positions of operating point on the characteristic which I have earlier drawn. So this is my load line under DC conditions. Suppose this is one position of operating point, this is second position of operating point, and this is the third position of operating point. As we very much aware with the fact that this region of the output characteristic is called as cutoff region. This region of the output characteristic is referred as saturation region. And this region of the output characteristic is referred as active region. Now we have 3 points. The Q3 is indicating a point which is very much near to the cutoff region. Q2 is indicating a point which is near the saturation region. And Q1 is the point which is in the middle of the active region. We should all very much understand that in order to find a faithful amplification, that if we want that the amplification should be very faithful, the enhancement of the weak signals needs to be amplified properly, then we should always remember that the ideal location of the operating point is always in the middle of the active region. That means Q1, which is a point in the middle of the active region, is the ideal location for selecting the operating point. The ideal location for the position of operating point is Q1, that is in the middle of the active region. Hence, for faithful amplification, Q1 must always be selected. Now this is the worth noting point, that if we want that faithful amplification should take place, then we should always select an operating point in the middle of the active region. But there are several challenges to fix Q point. Let's discuss it one by one. First of all, since we very much know that operating point is the point of intersection of the load line and the output characteristic, so we can mark it as I have already told you in the previous discussion, that the coordinates which I have chosen at that particular point was VCE1 and IC1. That means operating point is highly dependent on these two parameters. One is IC, another is VCE. Let's take one by one what are the various challenges that we face while selecting the operating point and why the operating point need to be very much fixed. This is a challenge. The first point is temperature dependency. Now this is a relation which gives a direct dependency of the collector current with beta and ICO. Now since when temperature changes, these parameters beta and ICO also changes. When these parameter changes, IC changes. Now when the IC changes, the Q point varies. Suppose IC increases, then the Q point will be moving upwards. If IC decreases, then the Q point will be moving downwards. Upward means Q point will be trying to move towards the saturation region, which is very unhealthy for the faithful amplification. If it decreases, then it will be moving downwards, that is near to the cutoff region, which is also not the suitable location for selecting the operating point. So first hurdle that we have is temperature dependency. Second, variation in transistor parameters of even same type transistors. See, even after the tremendous advancement in the semiconductor technology, since it has been found that beta may vary widely between the transistors of even same types. Now if beta varies, again if we see this basic equation, if beta is going to vary, then also IC is going to vary. So beta if varies, this implies IC also varies. Now if IC varies, again the operating point is going to get dislocated. It won't be fixed. Let's discuss the third challenge. Third challenge is referred as thermal runaway. Now this concept is also directly related to the variation in the temperature. Since we very much know that when the current is established into the circuitry, the heating loss occurs at output junction. Now due to this heating loss, which is primarily referred as I square RT, due to the development of the heat across the junction, temperature is going to rise. Now if the temperature is going to rise, the reverse saturation current ICO, there is a rule of thumb that reverse saturation current doubles for every 10 degrees Celsius rise in the temperature. So ICO changes. When ICO changes or increases, IC also increases. As a result, operating point further gets shift. But this process doesn't stop over here. With the increase in the IC, this chain is again established. When IC again increases, again more heat is dissipated across the junction. Due to this heat dissipation, again temperature rises, again reverse saturation current rises, and a sort of algo is established, and a sort of cumulative process is established, which keeps on increasing the junction temperature. If the temperature of the junction keeps on increasing, then a stage is reached that the transistor may get damaged due to overheating. This process is referred as thermal runaway. So by looking over here, the challenges that we have, one is temperature dependency, second is variation in transistor of even same type, and third is thermal runaway. It is quite difficult to fix up the position of operating point. But the challenge needs to be overcome. In order to overcome this challenge, the phenomena which will now be discussed is referred as bias stabilization. So the phenomena which is being used to fix the above said challenges is called as bias stabilization. In bias stabilization, we use various transistor biasing circuits to overcome the various challenges which are responsible to shift the position of operating point. Now we will be giving you an idea about various transistor biasing circuits. Broadly, there are 4 types of transistor biasing circuits. First is fixed bias circuit. Number 2 is modified fixed bias circuit. Third is collector to base bias circuit, and fourth one is voltage divider bias circuit. Now these are the biasing circuits with the help of which we can stabilize the position of operating point so that faithful amplification can be achieved with the help of transistor biasing circuits. Let's discuss one by one. Number 1 is fixed bias circuits. So this is emitter, this is base, this is collector. The resistance across collector is referred as RC, across base is RB. This is VCC. Let's try to find the position of operating point over here. The current which is going through base resistance is IB, through collector is IC. Now in order to find the operating point, we have to apply KVL across input and output junction. So first we apply KVL in input junction. So this is my input loop. So it is VCC is equal to IBRB plus VBE. So from here IBRB comes out to be equal to VCC minus VBE, and IB comes out to be equal to VCC minus VBE upon RB. So I get a very first expression which is giving me the value of base current. IC is equal to beta into IB. Now put the value of IB into this expression. We get beta VCC minus VBE upon RB. So we have achieved the value of IC by applying KVL in the input junction. Now in order to get VCE, we apply KVL in the output junction. So let's apply KVL in output junction. VCC is equal to ICRC plus VCE. From here we have VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. So this is the second elementary point that we wanted to find the value of Q point. Therefore, in a fixed bias circuit, we are now very much aware about the various values of the operating point, which I have already told you that Q point is the point which has the coordinates of VCE and IC. Let's move to the second biasing circuit, that is modified fixed bias. Now what exactly is the variation that we have done in modified fixed bias? We have simply introduced one resistance across the emitter, which is referred as emitter resistance. Remaining circuitry is exactly the same which we have discussed previously. Again, as I have told you, the rule of the thumb to find the value of VC and IC is you have to again take KVL in the input as well as in the output junction. So let's start first. Apply KVL in the input junction. Again, the current which is going through the base resistance is IB, through collector it is IC, through emitter it is IE. Let's apply KVL again in the input junction. VCC is equal to IBRB plus VBE plus IERE. Now the component which is added into this particular expression is IERE. This means VCC minus VBE is equal to IBRB plus IERE. Now we know IE is equal to IB plus IC and IC is equal to beta IB. Now if I put this value into this expression, I get IE is equal to IB plus beta IB. I can take IB common. It is 1 plus beta. Now why we have done this? We have tried to simplify this expression so that it has a variable of IB only, so that I can easily find the value of IB. Now I put this value of IE into this expression. VCC minus VBE is equal to IBRB plus IB 1 plus beta RE. Now again I can take IB common from here. My equation gets simplified. RB plus 1 plus beta into RE. And here we have VCC minus VBE. So I get a relation of IB which is VCC minus VBE upon RB 1 plus beta into RE. Now I got IC can easily be established from here. IC is equal to beta IB. Here is beta, and we will be putting the value of IB from this expression, which is VCC minus VBE upon RB 1 plus beta RE. So I have established the value of collector current. Now I have to establish the value of VCE. Again I will be going with the same concept. I will be applying KVL in the output junction. Now apply KVL in output junction. So this is my output junction. My challenge is to find the value of VCE. So VCC is equal to ICRC plus VCE plus IERE. So from here VCE comes out to be equal to VCC minus ICRC minus IERE. So hence we have established both the coordinates of operating point in a modified fixed bias circuit.